And welcome back to more God of War. In this episode, we travel to the shithole that is the other fucking dimension of the elves. Simon something. I don't remember what the hell it is.
Smoke?
It'll fucking come to me at like the last second. Yeah, and more of that like burning crap shit. And I think I also missed the fucking raven up here. What is there, like 65, 67, 72? It was like a weird number. I'm like, huh, if only it was 69.
Stay back, boy.
Ugh, what is that?
We must find another way
What
up.
the hell this shit is. The
A
Black
witch.
Plague or something like
Wish
that.
she was here. Bet she could get us past this.
My magic is useless against the black
Black
breath,
Breath,
and
yeah.
there's no way
I also love how
around
you can
it.
hear her come in,
Odin
too.
saw to that long ago,
What are you doing here?
making sure you can finish your journey.
Alright,
Why
Aloy.
would to warn us?
I was busy saving my friend, if you remember.
Oh, the
The black breath is a corruption of
Aloy just like
magic.
dismisses
Even
the
I
fact
can't
that, yeah, I
dispel.
killed your friend, whatever.
Only the pure light of Alfheim is strong enough to break through. But that road is long. What does this goal mean to you?
It's everything.
Of course it does, Artreus, it always does.
Follow me.
Why help us?
I love this.
Maybe I see more of myself in you than I'm willing to admit. Maybe by helping you, I'll make up for a lifetime of mistakes.
That doesn't work. Well, I mean, it kind of does, but who knows?
Or maybe I just like you.
Even though we shot your friend?
Even though you shot my friend, yes.
Ha!
Where must we go?
Back down.
To a realm beyond your own.
Kratos just wants to kill things and not deal with this shit.
We're going to another realm? Are you coming with us?
Only for a little while.
Only for a little while.
Cause dun dun dun, guess what happens? She actually gets transported back. Can't wait for that Odin fight to happen though. Ooh, it's gonna be so much fun.
We'll use this. Graythaw.
Can't. Sindri said it was broken.
Sindri.
The dwarf at the foot of these hills.
He was fixing it when we got here.
No one was there when I passed by. Perhaps he finished.
Bullshit.
Dwarves are awfully resourceful.
And irritating, based on the two we have met.
That too.
Did I actually find it? I know I heard it, so I'm like, where the hell is it? But I think I wasn't allowed to take my axe out because this.
Just give that a turn.
It's one of those fucking immersion moments. It's one of those dumb. Or did I just... I know. You can hear it definitely,
Tyr's temple is at the center of the lake.
but I don't remember if you have to like
It is from
drive
there
by,
we travel
snipe
to
it with the
Alfheim.
axe. It's something.
Thankfully, it's no longer underwater.
Why is that creature in the bay?
No one knows. He just appeared one day.
Bullshit.
Soon after, Thor attacked, and their battle could be felt across all the realms. Ultimately, it ended in a stalemate, and Thor returned to Odin empty-handed. The serpent stayed and grew so large, he now spans all of Midgard.
See? Told you.
They've hated each other ever since.
I like how he also looked at
Destined
the
to
kid
kill
and
each
I
other
just
come
like,
Ragnarok.
fuck you.
You believe in Ragnarok?
Mm-hmm.
I dearly wish I didn't, child.
Ragnarok is the
You know, we actually talked to the world serpent.
god's apocalypse.
An exaggeration.
I'm good with languages. Even ones I've never heard before. But when he talks, I can't understand any of it.
Sadly, no one can. He speaks a dead tongue.
Oh.
Yep.
Must be lonely.
What the hell is it? Yeah, the god's apocalypse is just Ragnarok. Fenrir bites Tyr's hand off. Skull and Hati, I think, eat the sun and moon.
Watch your step. Just along here.
You sure? We came through here before and there's no way back across.
I'm trying to remember all the other ones
Is
too. Like
that
those are like
so?
two main ones I remember.
Let me show you something.
Yes, I know. Ironic that Fenrir, Skull, and Hati are all wolves. Go fuck yourself, San Diego. I don't give a shit.
Are you watching?
But at least I know some things. But, or,
What? It's
oh no,
hollow.
Elven
God damn it.
architecture.
Fenrir's
My
supposed to
bowstring
kill
was
Odin,
soaked
that's
in the
right.
light of Alfheim. It can now
Because
reawaken
the
the
trust
magic of the
was
elves.
the dwarf ribbon
Wait,
from
it won't
Fenrir.
just disappear, will it?
Not as
I
long
don't
as
remember who the hell
light
the
shines
dwarves
free.
were, essentially. I don't know if it
This
was,
way.
you know, Brock and Sindri, but it
I
might be
want
other
one.
dwarves as well. But the dwarves
Those
create a
roots.
ribbon that's
What kind of
unbreakable.
magic is that?
Fenrir's
Vanna.
kind of like
Vanna?
suspicious about the
No.
idea.
Just stories.
He takes a ribbon, he tries to break it,
Just like they're
can't,
always at war
so
with
he
Lisa.
bites
Let's
Tyr's
compare Odin and Thor.
left hand
There
off,
are no good gods.
and then
away. Thought I taught you that.
he's chained up and wound or whatever the fuck it is. I forget that what it is. I don't remember most of the story. All I remember is that fucking ribbon was the reason why Tyr loses his hand. And then come Ragnarok, Fenrir breaks the chains, Fenrir kills Odin, and either that's the beginning of it or the end
Built
of
with help
Ragnarok.
from the giants, Great Tyr used it to travel the
It's something
9
like that.
realms and keep the peace between them.
Doesn't seem very peaceful. Everywhere we go, we're
Yeah,
attacked.
because Tyr's not there anymore.
Especially by dead things.
The risen dead grow ever more numerous. Once the roads
What's
and
unfortunate
trails
is you don't
would
get to
have
meet
been full
Hela
of
in this
people.
game, and I would really
Now
love
all
that,
have
because I know
hid or
damn well for a
fled,
fact she's nothing
save
like the
for
fucking
reavers,
Hell in Smite.
savage enough to
Which also
survive
makes me
the
laugh
ancient
that
world.
Smite is also now on the Nintendo Switch. And I get this... I've gotten this feeling to go back to it again and
Make a
live
right at the
stream
bottom of these stairs.
me being a trolley, a fucking smurf, and fucking people up. And then just, like, complaining about, like, how people don't fucking play the
Hey,
game
Another one of those light crystals.
because I'm being the asshole.
Wait there
I'd like to
while
do that.
reawaken the
I did it back
light.
then, on the
I
PS4.
did it. What are we
It's
doing exactly?
Mending the disrepair.
literally, I will tell you this, it
Start
is
by lifting that
super
axle.
weird playing it on the PS4 than it is on the PC.
Good.
I can say this though, like, it is intuitive. Like, it's pretty fucking good to be able to do that. From,
Now realign the wheel onto the track.
how the hell is it, playing it via,
Now push the bridge
or,
along the
god damn
track.
it. I'm, like, trying to also listen, which is also, like, a weird, like,
The whole
ADD
entire
thing
bridge
with
is
that
turning.
crap.
How is the whole entire bridge turning?
But there's also, but going back to trying to
Really
remember what the hell I
strong.
was talking about with, like, the
Just
intuitive
keep
process of
pushing
how it
until
works
the bridge
with
reaches its
PS4.
first position.
Like, it's pretty good.
Tired yet?
I don't know who the hell it would have, like,
He's always been really strong. So about the dead. We heard someone call them Hellwalkers.
shit, because I'm, like, trying to see, because here's the funny thing, I was also, like, thinking back to playing the game as well.
Did Vanny or magic raise the dead?
It could.
Um,
but this is no spell.
Because when did I
This plague
stop?
of dead is
It was
but a
season
symptom
3,
of a world
so
out of balance. Something
a
or
bunch of the
someone
new
has meddled with
characters,
powerful forces.
let's go with,
That is all I know for sure.
I never played against, like, the Morgan.
That's
Um,
perfect. Come back up. We're ready now.
That was impressive.
Susano? Yeah, I think Susano
You
wasn't
didn't
on
hurt
my
your back,
list.
did you?
I did not hurt my back.
Yeah, no, Susano wasn't a
Through
part of
these
that.
doors.
I don't fucking remember. All I know is that I also played around when Baron Smatty was around, and I fucking
All
hated Baron.
races helped with its
Because he was, like,
construction.
so
It was the
much of a
last
stupid
great
hero
act
to
of
play, or,
cooperation between the
excuse me,
realms
a
before
god to play
peace
as.
disappeared for good.
I still call them heroes because champions is for fucking losers. But anyway, because Baron Smatty, or whatever the hell the voodoo dude was, it's just so, like, quote-unquote, like,
Liosa.
bullshit, in a sense.
Your bowstring stopped glowing.
Its power is now
And
depleted.
I'm like,
Only a
I
few
hate
knocks
it.
of magic remained in the bowstring, and we used them.
So I was like, oh god, he was like so stupid of a hero, of a
You're
fucking
both
god. Because like the whole idea was that, oh yeah, you had these hysteria things, and then when you put too much, or
Once
when you give
claim the
them
light
too much of
Alpha,
it, it's like,
infuse the
oh
bowstring
fuck.
with its powers. Don't forget.
And then it's all dumb, and I was still playing my boy, Awa, because my undead Mayan little, fucker is always gonna be with me no matter
Not
what.
like you're not coming with us.
I'll
A
try.
lot of people are like, what the
Measures
fuck
were
you talking
taken
about?
to keep me trapped in Midgard.
Why?
The scraggly looking
Don't care
dude who
for
looks
me
about
much.
as thin as me, but not as short. My favorite
This
dude
it?
ever.
So dark.
This temple has been
I fell in
asleep,
love with him when he came
underwater
out.
for
Like,
almost 150
here's a dude that just
winters.
explodes
It
corpses,
needs
and
only the light of the
it was
Bifrost
so
to reawaken.
much hilarious. There's so much hilariousness to playing that character in PS4 version because it wasn't as bad of a as like say the PC where you could just whip a 180 and get the fuck out of getting killed by
They are.
motherfucking his
These
shit.
roots are part of
But
the
now
great
you get to
world
move
tree,
slow,
and they
which means
travel
that if
between
you
the
don't
realms
snipe them
possible.
just right on the PS4, or, if you just snipe them just right on the PS4, oh, it is satisfying to kill. But I still stay away from Conquest because the
How
idea
does it
is
work?
just...
You will need this.
Conquest
a
was
Bifrost,
unfun for the most part.
To create
Like,
travel between realms.
and I know a lot of people are going to
It
be
can
like,
capture,
really?
hold,
I mean,
and
that was the
transfer
main
the light
draw
of
for you.
Alfheim.
Conquest was the
Place
main
the
draw for
Bifrost there.
But then when I started treating it not as that, but more
What now?
Give it a moment.
Bloodline
The
Champions, so to
temple
speak.
needs time
Or
to
no,
wake
Battle
up
Right,
from its
excuse me.
long slumber.
Can't say
It is
Bloodline
from
Champions, I
this
don't know what the
room
fuck that game is
and
anymore.
this room alone that you will be able to
'Cause
cross between
I'll always
realms.
state this. I hate the fucking word MOBA. I hate
What
it
you
with
see
so
before
much
you represents
passion
the
and
temple
fury
in which
that
we stand,
I correct people,
as well
and I
as the
don't
realm
give a fuck how
towers
rude
that
I am to
encircle
them.
the Lake of Nine
If you say
outside.
MOBA when talking
All
about
the
most of those
realms
games,
exist
you're
in the
fucking
same
wrong
physical
and a
space,
goddamn
reflections
liar.
of each other.
Saying that's
These
what it is.
doors, the towers
Because I will argue
outside,
this.
and the 9
Street
realms
Fighter's
are
classified as a
all
MOBA.
intertwined and
Tekken 7
coexisting
could
on
be
the
considered a
branches
MOBA.
of the
CSGO
world
could be
tree,
considered a MOBA. But
separated
those are
only by
shooters
the
and fighting
Bifrost-like
games.
Alfheim.
Yes, but where do they
This
all take
place can
place when you
focus
think
and
about the
control
size of the
that
map?
light.
It's a fucking arena.
this the
That's
world
what it
tree?
is.
Only an artistic
You
representation
fight,
of it.
you know, every fighting
No,
game could be
the
classified
Yggdrasil is
as
much, much more than
what the
this.
hell is it? As a
The
MOBA
tree
because
of life is
it's a
bound to the fate of the
multiplayer
world,
online
just
battle
as we
arena.
are
Guess
bound
what?
to it.
That's what every fight
The
takes
tree
place in,
nourishes our souls.
quote unquote,
The dew
figuratively,
from its leaves
in an
feeds our
arena-based
valleys and rivers.
fight. Like,
The tree's very existence
you're gonna tell me that
supports all of
somehow
creation
the
alike.
idea of fighting in
The bridge you pushed outside
what the hell
is
is
currently
it?
positioned
In an actual
to lead
arena
to
in
the realm
Tekken
of
7,
Anaheim.
the actual arena place where Paul
Instead,
fights
turn the
Kuma,
wheel to our
or no,
actual
where Paul fights
destination,
Panda in that fucking
Alfheim.
storyline. You're gonna tell me that that's fighting, but yet
moving the big
somehow that's not a battle arena?
Yes.
What are
The
you
wheel
fucking
turns the
mentally
bridge, and the
just
bridge aligns
dumb?
to the
Like,
different
fuck
realm
off.
towers on the lake outside.
I'm very passionate about hating the word MOBA.
And that's why
I'd rather
realm
it be
travel to
called
Jotunheim
arts,
is
which
impossible.
actually fits
Without
much
a tower
better.
for the bridge to lock into,
Which is
the
unfortunate too,
sequence can't
because
begin. Every
fuck,
realm
whoever
has
the
a
hell
travel
made
room
that,
unlocks the bridge to that realm. I'm giving you the one for Alfheim.
was
Now
the
you can
ad
lock
that
in your
mocked
destination.
its predecessor. Because whoever the hell that dude was, I would love to just give him
We're
my
ready.
2 cents and tell him how
Remember
much
to
of an
take the
asshole he is.
Bifrost.
Because if it
Don't
wasn't
want
for
to
the
lose
shit
that.
he mocked, there would be no Smite.
all the realm
There would
travel
be no
bridge
fucking
will
League of
align.
Lesbians.
And
There
the
would be
realm
no
between realms
Battle Right. There would be
will
none of that shit. Count your fucking blessings, you moron.
See that
Jeez.
giant crystal?
I love how I've gone way
Each
off
realm
tangent
has a
with talking about this
corresponding
shit
one
with
that focuses and
Smite and
amplifies the
whatnot. Like,
power
ah,
of the
man.
Bifrost,
Because it's
opening
all
the
Nordic
bridge
gods
to
here,
that
so it's like,
realm.
ah.
That's why realm travel is only possible from this room.
It's kind of
What
hilarious.
about that one realm tower missing from the lake?
Man.
The Jotunheim Tower disappeared from all realms over 100 winters.
I mean, like, it
when
sounds
the
like I'm
giants
getting
vanished
real
from Midgard.
fucking
Where the tower
crabby,
went and how they
and just
moved it remain a
real, like,
mystery.
arrogant, angsty about the whole scheme of things, but I really just... I don't know, like, the way how Riot treats...
Good work. We're still here.
Follow me.
Alright, without getting into the whole other
This trip has its last use.
conspiracy...
There's no going back
oh,
until it's
fuck.
replenished with the light of Alfheim.
So we are trapped.
Wrong word.
Someone of
What
your
the hell's the other
ability
C
should
word?
have little trouble getting back to Midgard.
And we'll be able to make that black dragon.
With the captured light of Alfheim, yes.
Shit. Controversy. There's the other Z word I was looking for. With all the controversy surrounding it, the one problem that Riot had was its balancing issues. They sucked at it, like, horribly. They didn't make the right moves, they took away a lot of the, you know, fun mechanics, and they just made this boring ass, like, farming, you know, this 20-minute farming simulator that has a 85 to 90% chance of whoever farms the best wins automatically.
Welcome to Alfheim, gentlemen.
With no room for,
Think you can spot
what was it? Where
the
there's
light?
no room for
I can barely see
a,
it. Something's wrong. See that column of light on the horizon? It's housed in the heart of a ring temple.
I want
We'll
to say
find what we need
recluse,
there.
but that's not the right word, that's another word.
No.
It's,
Damn it, not yet.
What's happening?
it's
To restore the Bifrost magic, you must
a
step
comeback,
into
that's
the
what I
light.
was looking for.
But be
I
very
don't know, the
careful.
other R word I could probably put up in there or something like that. But in reference to that, the whole idea is that oh hey, you know, it's like they can't mount a comeback because the game snowballs too fucking
She's
hard.
not dead. Is she?
Not likely.
So a lot of people were like, oh hey, you know, in a game, like if you take Dota 2 mechanics with Ari and Xerneas, I think his name was, or Xeris, or whatever the fuck
Look
it
at
was,
this place.
you know, like,
Stay by me.
you know, Annie's a powerhouse.
nothing.
She always has been. But Xerneas wasn't really that special. But in Dota's mechanics, Xerneas can actually mount a comeback against Annie. Or to take into other, or to take it into my own,
I
you know,
think you killed it.
ideals and via, what the hell is it? Into the other things where they were talking about, you know, Annie versus
Not
Annie
our
in the
concern, boy.
in League's
Focus.
form of mechanics. The Annie that gets the better farm is the better Annie. Now, if you take Annie versus Annie in Dota's
Boy.
mechanics, the Annies
What
can
does it
have
say?
two different builds, but could
Something about
equally
it,
be
eternal war
as
I don't get it.
useful
Both
to the
sides
team
need it.
fight.
Why not just share it?
Because
Greed.
one could have
You
different
will find
mechanics,
the
and the other
common
one
cause
also
for
could have different
war.
mechanics, but they're, you know, they're coming down to like their items and coming down to like positioning and all that jazz and how to make, you know, the other team better. Like, for all you know, like Annie could have an aura item in the Dota mechanic, but it's bad, you know, having it in League. So it's like weird in a sense.
They keep murdering the White Elves.
So it's like all different shit. So it's
The
like
end of one.
the idea,
one's
like
lost.
how bad, you know, snowballing is in League is, you know, right the fuck out there. And it's just, you just sit here and you're like watching and you're just saying to yourself, why do these people watch this? What even is, like, there's no good form that's out there anymore where you could say like, oh yeah, you know, you watch Dota and there's all like these interesting mechanics and whatnot. And then coming from a different standpoint, like, yeah, I know that everyone has like the same sort of mechanics. It's really bad in League because every character, actually it was just as bad as it was in Smite, where every character had a speed, had like a, what the hell is it, a steroid button. Everyone had like a movement type of skill, and everyone had their, you know, their farm abilities. You know, like the farming abilities. You know, like the ability to farm out a crowd, so to speak, or whatever the hell you want to use, or minions, whatever the fucking word is. Take into account, say, Artemis. Artemis had a steroid for her attack speed. She had a trap. It was pretty good. If you knew to take your ultimate ability, which is the boar, in which when the boar stuns your opponent in close range, you drop the trap down and get more time on them.
It is war.
But,
The
it counts as an ensnare.
Loved ones lost.
So you don't get the luxury of using your movement abilities, but you can still attack and do whatever. Which is still pretty good, I think. I don't know if it's still the same as it were to someone like the fucking Sirens. Because she had an ensnare, which was really fucking good. And but you could still like do abilities and shit, you just couldn't move when you got ensnared. That's just the way how the mechanics worked. So yeah, it was interesting. But going back, like the way how Artemis worked like that was really good. Now the fun thing about Apollo, on the other hand, was that he was originally a ranged assassin, but they turned him into a ranged hunter at the time. So what happened was that he's got like these crazy ass abilities,
They keep
Like-
murdering the White Elves.
like the movement ability off his
The end of
3,
one.
which I think it was
Loved ones
his E,
lost.
which allowed him to like dash up and hit people. He had, I forget the hell he had. I know he had a steroid, but I don't remember too. But his ult was like this crazy ass like fucking movement thing that he could do, where he rides his fucking horses to anywhere on the map, so long as you had fucking mana for it. And you know, it was like weird shit like that. Then you had characters like Medusa, and then, well, you have characters like Medusa. You also have characters like I don't remember most of the hunters. Oh god. But yeah, like Medusa was really cool, but she had a movement ability that she could do. She had a weird steroid, to be honest. Oh, I remember the other two idiots. The other two idiots were like, actually I've got three. Hua? Fuck, is it Hua? What is that bastard's name? Nuwa. No, no, not Nuwa. Who was the ranged dude from the Hindu? I almost said Ra. No, I think it's an R. Rama, that's it, Rama. Rama, it was him, and then there was
There's war.
Ugur. Yeah, there was Ur. It was unfortunately bad. I think what was also most unfortunate was Ur. I can't, it's so hard pronouncing his fucking name. Because it's ULLR, so you know how tough that is. Because it's like Ur, something like that. But it's... Did I miss that? Huh, really? Uh-oh. That's a problem I apparently overlooked. That's no good. Oh shit. I need to edit that, because that is a death that shouldn't actually exist. Even though it's, well, no, that's what the hell is it? A death I glossed over apparently, and because the next one I
The
think
other one.
is
The robed one's lost.
well, it's definitely me clearing out these three. Has to be, because the way how the sound lines look is very different. Oh shit, I've got to edit that out ASAP. One death short on that list. I don't like skimming over that. But I mean, for the most part, they were all like short, so I wouldn't really waste my time. There's a lot of context I apparently like kept in. I realized this episode is, without a doubt, an hour fucking long. Damn, how long was it? This is all... Shit, this is all one episode. Usually don't ever go that far out, because, like, this is the 22nd. Right now, I don't know whether or not it's going to be the same, but this is on minute 22. And... yeah, because all of this would be... as I'm looking at it, all of this would be exploration for like 10 minutes, I want to say. Yeah, there would be exploration for about 8 minutes. And then there's that fight that happened during the what the hell is it? Shit. At the sand, trying to learn the shit for the sandbar. Unless it's the next episode. I am very confused right now. Not good. I also just don't like the fact that I skimmed over a death. That's something I usually never do. So I gotta go edit this shit. So I know that at least when this episode happens, the edit will be
War
fixed.
will come.
I will damn well make sure of it. I mean, I usually don't like to ever go... I usually always follow the 3 strikes rule when I do that shit, so it's kind of like, that's not right. You know, because there's supposed to be a fast forward on that. But I guess because, you know, this part here was that I completed it, I guess it was fine. But I unfortunately skimmed over a death, which I don't like because A, I do most of the editing myself, and B, I'm usually, you know, this was like a new thing I wanted to try out for editing, you know, just to be like, oh yeah, you know, we can learn this new shit and whatever the fuck else, you know, kind of crap like that. So it's like, I wanted to make it, you know, nice and semi-professional. Quote unquote. But it's just like the way how this fell out, I guess. It was just really weird, which is not usually how I would ever do that. Because I thought I was being more observant than I am, but at least out of the catalog that I have left, I have one more episode to do from this thing, and then move on from there. So I can at least it was picked up later in the episode, you know, later in the pieces that I have more than earlier, because that would yuck. But at least I know that the first 8 episodes are fine. Just 9 and 10 are gonna get fixed before I actually
something?
put the next thing down.
Oh, okay.
It is unfortunate.
Another cipher piece. I'll see what I can fit together.
Muspelheim? Oh god, I forgot. Alright, and going back to...
At least we're getting closer to the light.
And as I'll try and go back to
Wait, was that
mentioning the stuff about like the hunters and all that, you know, shit about snowballing. I don't know how bad it was. I know it was kind of hilarious to see it more in Smite for the most part, but it was still like, it was super bad in fucking League, especially when you had everyone running fucking Flash, because why you think having a goddamn, you know, what the hell's it, a skill tree and fucking what the hell's it, runes and summoner abilities, which I think is the most dumbest thing in the world. I said it, and I don't really give a fuck. Because you know, as you know, everyone would say, like, if you didn't run Flash, you were a fucking idiot. So yeah, because that was part of the problem. So yeah. And then, oh, if you don't have Flash, then you're a bad player because blah blah blah. You know, because it's like, oh, it's such a useful ability. Yeah, but everyone used it, and everyone always like fucked off with it. And it was like this whole like, oh, you do it to get away from, you know, your enemies and yada yada yada. And if you give chase, then you're fucking, you know, worthless as a teammate, and you shouldn't be doing all this and blah blah blah. And the skill tree was even more ridiculous because anyone par 30 was at an auto disadvantage, made even worse by the fact that you had those stupid rune pages, so now you were at an even more bigger disadvantage. And then you had stupid shit like, oh, you know, gold per 5 seconds? 10 seconds? It was something. And then it was like an even bigger joke because you could essentially... What's the right word? I want to say... See, I want to use the term cheat, but I want to... but it's like another word for... Oh, gimmick. That's the word I was looking for.
Probably shouldn't let my brother lay hands on it again.
Because you do like these gimmicks that, you know, were only work in like some situations.
Yes, my young man.
No, that's sort of dumb shit where, oh hey, you know, if you do this, this, and this during the game, you know, it's not the best idea, but hey, it works because, you know, you know, the dumbass idea of, you know, it's having the ability stack and not being a unique passive. So you have games where you would be playing whoever the fuck the
keeping that clean.
what the hell's his name? Whoever the hell the pirate dude was, and parlay, you know, parlay your own fucking creeps. Oh, but guess what? That was considered disrespect and not very player friendly to players, because it would be, you know, it was considered toxic behavior to fucking use parlay and then stack avarice plays, like what they were called, to get these like ridiculous, you know, gold crap, and also, you know, deny the enemy experience points and all this other dumb shit. And so they changed parlay to not do that. They made the whole thing. So it was like this whole stupid fucking shit where it's like, oh wow, you know, the one fun thing we could do you know, they got rid of it, so now the game is unfun. And since I played Dota 1, the idea of denying your opponent experience points is the reason why you play that, because that was a tactical thought. You know, that was a tactical skill.
What'd you say?
I said nothing.
Really?
So, like,
Okay.
oh, hey, you know, you're supposed to play... You have to play, like, 4D chess, essentially, because you have to... You know, in a lane, you have to deny your opponent
Your
experience
mother
points.
speak
You
of
have to
this
make sure that
realm.
they don't deny you experience
much.
points. You gotta last hit better and faster
Just
than
that
them.
since the elves are always
And you
fighting
can't
over
be,
the
you know,
lives.
spamming skills like a fucking
nice
idiot
food.
does in World of Warcraft. Which, unfair, because it's all arcane mages ever did, was just spam fucking one button. Sorry, but, well, 2 or 3, depending on how you did that. And, you know, sorry, but, yeah, that was it. Unless you are a disabled person, i.e. you only have one fucking arm to use. And, or, you know, fucking other shit, you know, in that hindsight where, hey, you know, you can't do this or that because... You know, you have a handicap, that's fine. But if you play, you know, Arcane Mage because you're a lazy asshole, well, fuck you.
Huh?
Again, I said nothing.
Weird. Could have sworn you said something.
And
Where's the boy?
so, like, the whole idea
Voices.
was just
You
playing,
don't hear that?
you know,
I hear nothing.
doing
What's going on?
proper mana
It was
management
screaming.
because that was what you had
Lots
to
of
do.
voices. Angry.
So, instead of playing, like, fucking...
No.
You felt.
You know, playing like a fucking arcane mage in League of Legends where you just fucking spam, you know, your farming ability or some shit like that. It's the same in Smite, but it's a little bit more different because you actually had to be a lot more smart about using your skills. I usually used those abilities to zone, because I actually targeted the gods with it when I was playing
Look,
characters.
Should we try talking to them?
No.
But maybe they
You know,
need
when
help.
I was playing hunters, you know,
They do
like
not
part of my
stop
management
us,
was like,
so
all right,
they
yeah,
do
you
not
know, I'd
concern
spam,
us.
you know, abilities,
They
Maybe.
do
but
not
it's not because
concern us.
I'm, you know, hitting them to just do no damage. I'm hitting them because I'm trying to prevent them from being in the range for gaining experience points when a creep dies, you know, that sort of thing. Which is the same thing that you do in League, essentially, but it was a lot more smarter and a lot more different to do in
That must be the ring temple.
Dota. So, you know, it was resource management, it was denying creeps, it was getting last hits, it was also preventing your opponent from getting those last hits against
Look,
you.
They have sandballs in offline
So, you know, there was a lot more tactical prowess in Dota 2.
What does it
And I think it's still there.
Without me
I haven't watched
or
it in a
within
while.
me, doesn't
I'd have to actually,
share.
like, dedicate an
Yet
hour
within
because that's how
you,
those
I
matches
life
were.
most
You know,
pure.
watching those
But
happen, like
I
how
don't see any
people
runes around
do it
here.
now to...
Oh, we must find it. Back to the boat.
You know, like how they did all this, you know, 40 chess shenanigans and whatnot. So, that was always something that I'd argue in the near future, is that because we're dumbing down the idea... I mean, Dota 2 is still a
Sad the elves
strong
can't work
game.
things out.
No, don't get me
Alfheim's
wrong.
such
Like,
a
it's
beautiful
still,
place, but
you know,
war makes it ugly.
it still does good things.
Stories are for the boat. We must focus.
So, yeah. Sorry, I had like a memory lapse right now where I'm like, yeah. Oh, 51. I don't know whether I went with 69, but yeah, 51 is really arbitrary. It was a very strange number to have. But going back to what I was talking about, I don't know how different the game is because it's been a very long time since I've played it and watched other people play it. I don't know what the fuck the point is of auto chess. I think people are just, you know, missing StarCraft 2 essentially, or Warcraft 3 in the old days, where, you know, everyone just play, one shot it, like, fuck you, game. You know, where people used to always play, like, Footmen TD, well, you know, old Footmen Tower Defense games. Excuse me. Not that. Old tower defense games, I forget the hell the footies one was actually referred to as. I think it was a resource management one. There used to be the old days where you actually could play fucking RPGs that people made that were really fucking cool. Like, I remember playing Forlorn, I remember Defiance TD, I remember people who were playing fucking, or who actually made goddamn, Final Fantasy fucking RPGs and that. It was really fucking cool to play, but it was unfortunate was the fact that when I played the demo for that was Final Fantasy 14 months was not what I thought they were. I thought a month was a tank. Wrong. Oh well. But anyway, going back to that, the whole, you know, it's just this whole thing, like, too, where auto chess has become this big thing. Even though auto chess has, or at least the idea of micromanagement has existed for, like, a long time, ever since, like, Warcraft 2. Not as big, but, I mean, it was in StarCraft 1, but that was a lot different. Even though StarCraft 1 had also weird RPG elements to it as well. Those are hilarious. A lot of fun, but hilarious nonetheless. Another good one, too, was playing fucking Diablo RPG in StarCraft 1. It's not... I don't know if it's still, like, big and prominent as it was in, like, 2. Like, I haven't really played the custom games in 2 because I just didn't have the fucking download speed. You don't have, or, like, the necessary prowess to play it. So, like, the community was very split in the idea. Let's go with that. That's just how it is. I can tell you that, you know, Warcraft 3 was still going strong, and it probably still is to this point. God knows how long, but yeah. It's just like, that's the way how it is. Like, that's how it was for, like, a long fucking time. But anyway, going back to what I was talking about with, why, you know, playing chess over checkers is so much better. There's a shitty feeling that we get with a lot of that. I think it has to just do with mobile games and, you know, the idea of, you know, just feeding this whole kind of reward thing, let's go with. Or at least I think in the idea that's what it was. You know, it's like press button, get reward sort of deal where... Ah, fuck, what the hell was the name of that damn, study? I'm trying to remember. Or, you know, teaching a dog that, oh, hey, when you hear this bell, you get a treat. You know, it's like some subconscious sort of idea that if you do the, you know, every time they hear this, they now assume this is what they, you know, this is what they're getting now. So it's like that. It's a real weird thing. But yeah. It's just how it is. For the most part, anyway. But thankfully, you know, the whole concept of the idea is just a lot different. But I think, like, that's part of the problem, too, where it's just, like, button receive reward. So we're just, like, dumbing down, like, the feeling of a reward, so to speak. That was fun, which I think is just most unfortunate. Because I would like that. That idea of, oh, hey, you know, if I get, you know, if I do this, I get a reward. So I don't have to think about it. And that's bad. Like, not being able to, like, you know, just be on autopilot and just do dumb shit and just like, no, this isn't good. Like, don't do that. That's not very nice. You know, that sort of concept. It sucks. Like, I remember when I used to play a shitload of Dota, and I was, like, trying to better myself, trying to learn builds, trying to do all this shit, trying to, you know, outsmart the enemy, try and, like, fucking kick people's asses and whatnot. It sucked. Like, you gotta have it, you know? That sort of shit. You know, but it's like, oh hey, you know, playing chess instead of checkers. Like, I played chess when I was young. I like the idea of the game. It was cool. Like, I thought chess was, like, really neat. I used to be a part of the elementary chess
Sad the
club.
elves can't work things out. Alphine's
Oh, I don't
such a
know.
beautiful
Actually,
place,
yeah.
but war makes it ugly.
8, 9,
You
10.
see with the eyes of a child.
No,
In war,
7, 8, 9?
the soldier sees beauty
Yeah, like
only
around
in
that
the
age.
front of his enemy. The rest of him is lost.
chess was cool, man.
Sometimes
Chess was
never
cool.
to return.
You
Not great at it anymore,
know
just
about
because
war,
like my strategy skills are a
don't
little
you?
bit fucking.
Wars are fought for two things:
Shit.
survival or advantage. Battles may be won by the better soldier. Wars are won by those who are willing to sacrifice everything to ensure victory.
the blue door. That's gotta be
Sounds
the
like-
entrance. Let's go.
One's
Careful, boy.
like the idea of not being rewarded for good strategy. I feel like it's like
The
shit.
bridge is gone. They covered the crystal with that stuff. Why?
To prevent reinforcements.
And it's just shit I hate. And it's just like it's so boring to be. You know, it's like. That's why I'm always trying to like do shit like this. Like, in all honesty, I mean, like, okay, yeah, so it's not like God, so you're like, oh, hey, you know, no, it's like, you know, take for instance, the Revenge difficulty in Metal Gear Rising Revenge. You know, like, I could beat that game on Revengeance difficulty. It would take me a long time, but you know, persistence is a very strong skill, so to speak, about, you know, like, beating the game, so to speak. But, like, the idea of, hey, you know, that you can also, you know, beat, you know, as, like, the average Joe sort of deal, where it's like, yeah, the guy who works 9 to 5, he can beat this game. It'll take him a while, you know, but he can do it. He doesn't need much in the way of skill. You know, he just needs, like, a set number, you know, he just needs perseverance and a set number of skills and traits that, you know, can carry on longer. You know, a little bit of studying, but hey, like, it's not all bad. Like, hey, come on, like, if I can do it, you can too. That's always been my mantra. Or, that was a quirk. I think mantra, or at least, like, the hell, is it mantra? It's one of those words. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to hit that. I didn't realize it was that close. I'll mute it out. I'll keep it. I know it's not too dark. I'll edit that out. Don't worry. That wasn't supposed to happen. Because, I mean, like, this episode alone has to get edited anyway, so yeah. Like, edited hardcore, so yeah. I don't know why the hell I said that twice, but fuck it. Anyway, yeah, just. That's why I always want to challenge myself. Let's go with. You know, it's like the idea of strategy. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, you read a strategy guide. Yeah. It'll tell you hints and shit. But hints and shit doesn't, you know, transfer over to skill. Like say, the Sephiroth battle. And I always thought, I almost went dumb for a second there. I was like, what game had Sephiroth in it? Oh, right, Kingdom Hearts. Actually, more or less referring to Kingdom Hearts 2, because I didn't do it in 1. Sue me. I did beat him in 2, and I will tell you this, it was a tough fight. It was a hell of a fight. I think I died a couple times. And you know, they tell you, like, recommended levels and all that, and there was, like, this whole thing where, oh, well, if you, you know, do this, you know, against Sephiroth, I can't believe I fucking backrolled into that hit. You know, it's like, oh, well, you know, doing this and shit, you know, it's like, it'll make the battle easier. But, will it make it, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the hell I was going with that specific point, but nonetheless, what I was still referring to in the idea was that, sure, you could fight Sephiroth at level 99, but he could still kick your ass if you're not, you know, ready for it, or if you're not prepared, you know, for all the other, you know, like, 3,000 other battles you did against the fucking Heartless. So, you know, it teaches you at least these things and why you're supposed to, like, keep an eye on how, you know, the mechanics of, you know, like, the mechanics are mostly the more important part. Like, you know, dodge this move, block this move, parry this move. You know, it's like the idea of, alright, you can, you know, block and parry this, but you can't dodge it. You know, weird shit like that. Or it's like, oh, hey, you can parry this move, but you can't block it. And yes, if you think of unblockables the same way like that, that's how that works. And there are some moves where it's like, you can't parry this move, you can't block this move, but you can't dodge it. So, you know, shit like that, and the idea where if you understand what this is and you kind of test the waters, you learn that way. So that's what I would do if I were to play this game, essentially, where I'm learning the waters of how the mechanics are supposed to work so that when I go into the deep end, I know exactly what I need to know. That sort of idea. And I think that fit sort of well for the whole concept of how this was to work. Like, if you play it on hard mode, you know, it's going to be tougher, but the mechanics are still going to be there. They may be slightly bullshit, as I have learned, the hard way, but the mechanics are still there. They're just slightly tougher. But if you can adapt quicker to the idea, you've got nothing to worry about. So, voila, that's what I did. And that's the whole concept behind it. So, I can't say it's all bad. It worked out fine for what I needed it to. So,
Maybe we can fix the bridge from down there?
you know, it's like that shit like that.
So that did something. I think.
So, that's why I always like, you know, trying to, as I say it again, I know I repeat it myself, but that's why, you know, I want to be rewarded for doing dumb shit. Let's go with, like, if I ever get the chance to, it might be, like, way later in the fucking year, but I will tell you this, I'm going to try my damnedest to get the Shovel Knight thing, or the Shovel Knight stuff up and running, because, you know, being rewarded for doing dumb shit, there are 3 things that I would be doing in this Shovel Knight, you know, in the Shovel Knight playthrough, which is, you know, no upgrades,
We do not belong here.
no, well, essentially none of the trinket shit, which is, that invulnerability trinket that you wield.
Wait, combined together.
It's that blue, time locket or some shit like that. I forget what it's called.
Come. back to the sandbar.
But, you know, and then there's a password. If you remember that whole 257 password, I think it was, like the whole giant ass list of passwords you can use in Shovel Knight, you know, that alter the game. Like, oh hey, you can make Shovel Knight pink, or you can make him green, or you can, well, or at least I think of that idea.
Mother was a war. Was she in a war too?
Of a sort.
You know, it's like, oh hey, you know, now these, you know, you get all these abilities, you get all the relics, you get all the upgrades but no relics, you get all this and that, and then you just get like yada yada yada. So, it's shit like that. But there's a specific one that I went for, which was,
What does it ask?
when you take a hit, you die.
Yet within you, I am life most pure.
You can already see how bad this is
Yep,
going.
it's water, all
Oh,
right.
I also forgot too that there's another piece of the puzzle. Breaking all the checkpoints. But I'm actually kind of like,
There's the voices again.
do I really want to do that? I mean, like,
Voices.
New Game Plus on Shovel Knight is a lot different because you actually gain,
We are here for the light. I do not care who they are.
what the hell is
nor
it?
what they want.
Because the difference between that is that,
Anything.
You have something to say.
No.
and the hell is it, you get less checkpoints in like hard mode, I think is what it's called, which is New Game Plus. So, the idea of what I was trying to do was, I
Oh, look what we found.
beat the game first, jot down shit on my notes about like how to beat every boss, because the idea was that you had to beat the Order of No Quarter, but you also had to beat the semi-bosses, and there's
It was hard to make out.
3 of them, and I think Boz was one of them, the Ninja Girl was one of them, and that
That is not
fucking,
possible.
or actually, the Hat Dude was also one of them, and that asshole,
He looks different. Look at those horns.
the fucking samurai dude, I think his name was, or the samurai looking dude. The one that summons all the fucking lightning, that isn't Boz, it's another dude. But it's shit like that, you know, like doing all that and, you know, having to beat this whole game doing it that way is, you know, tough. I don't know how the hell that worked, by the way. But only just because, like, they have an orange health bar. So I don't know how the hell you're supposed to be knocking them off. Considering the hits were pretty big. And it's like all this great shit. And I have it like all jotted down, like, alright, here's the games I want to play that I want to play in the hardest difficulty. You know, and just like beat them essentially to be like, oh yeah, you know, it's like, oh hey, you know, there's now visual confirmation that someone beat this game doing all this shit. Like, I want to be that guy. Where it's just like, oh hey, you know, this dude somehow, you know, beat this game doing some really ballsy shit. I like him. I wonder what else he's got in store. You know, it's like, his editing is subpar, but you know what? Even if you know, like, even if you watch the video and not listen to my voice, or, you know, just play another video over it or something like that, you know, like fucking music or some dumb shit. You know, it's like, oh hey, you know, it's like, it still works out fine. I don't know how hardcore the fans are, because, like, we're talking, like, a difference between, like, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour. I only have one, and that's the, Street Fighter 2 I beat on the fucking hardest difficulty. Because that was the intention. I still want to do that. Like, I want to beat all those you know, those arcade fighting games on the hardest difficulty, because that shit's fun. Like, I love learning, like, shit like that, and coming up with dumb shit. Like, fuck. I can't wait to actually start playing, Waku Waku 7 on the channel, or, what's that fucking other game I also love the shit out of? Armored something or other. Fuck. The one that has Jin in it. Armored Warriors? Something like that. It's whatever Jin's from his game franchise. Because that shit was cool. Like, playing that game was really cool. There's a lot of those mechs. Because, like, I'm a big mech dude. Like, I fucking love Zoids. I love Gundams somewhat. The earlier shit. Like, when Master Asia's Donoro? Yeah, what the hell was his name? Started with a D. Dino. Fuck, I forget his name. I'm not big on Gundam. I was more a Zoid dude. Armored Core is also a fun one as well. I also missed.
Stay away from those cages.
I can tell you more about that in the next episode. So remember to always stay alpha, always play games with the hardest difficulty, and I will see you, ladies and gentlemen, in the next episode of the God of War Challenge. Peace out, y'all.